all right. I got Nick Creegan, my guy here.
Mm.
Thank you for tuning in, man. Definitely appreciate you for being a part of the No Script community, man. It's an honor to have you.
Honored to be here, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for the invite.
Oh,
It's actually one of my first interviews of 2021, so this is exciting. This is cool.
you get a chance to dust off some of the, you know what I mean, the PR moves and stuff like that. Some of the answers you're gonna be giving in the future, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. No, I'm excited to dive in with you, and it's good to see you're doing well too, man.
Thank you. You as well, man. I was just saying earlier, you look healthy, man. You look great. You know what I mean? It looks like you've been taking care of yourself through all of this, through COVID, man. How has that experience been for you? I know everybody's kind of absorbing it differently. It's a new time we're living in, just getting into new roles and different things. I know on set you can't wear the mask, so you got to get prepared and things like that. How is everything on your side?
Right, right. So for me, I mean, in terms of COVID, I feel like COVID for me was actually a really good thing. I was able to do a lot more self work, diving into my meditation, working out, a lot of things that I feel like I was giving excuses to because I was too busy. Once everything came to a standstill, I felt like I was just really being a lot more self reliant and cooking for myself, making sure that I was healthy, both mind, body, and spirit. And I feel like, that helped carry me into 2021 on a good page. Um, as you just said, like being on set, it's very different during COVID than opposed to before this happened. I feel like before COVID, everything was just very much free. You know what I mean? Everybody was just talking to everybody, masks off, et cetera, et cetera. But being on set during COVID, it's actually interesting. Like the whole crew, the camera crew, producers, etc. Everybody has on a mask and a face shield, and the actors are told to wear masks right before you get on set when you're about to film, and then it comes off. So yeah, it's different for sure, but after a few days of it, you're pretty much used to it. And I've had at least 17 COVID tests in the past like
Mm.
month, so I'm used to the swabs and all that. It's different, but I'm used to it by now. So yeah, I can't complain. I'm just blessed to be working.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like one of the things that we always take for granted is one of the two things I would say is the time that we're able to spend with our loved ones. Sometimes we always say like, we'll get to it later. I'll call so and so later. I'll get in touch with them later, but we never realize that later may not happen. You know what I mean? And now
Right.
it's kind of taught us that later might not be there. So let's take advantage of the things we have, and then also our mental and physical space, as you were saying, like taking the time to meditate, making sure you work out and do the right thing in this space in this time. Yeah, it's very important, man.
Definitely, definitely. I feel like everybody has realized what's really important ever since COVID happened. And a lot of people unfortunately lost loved ones. People realize that life is finite. Nothing is promised, whether it's a job or you being healthy. You could, just like that, get sick or lose your job or anything like that. So you kind of just gotta use your time that you have in the best way possible. And for me, that was, like you said, spending time with loved ones and also spending time with myself. I'd never had that much alone time. And for me, it was a fortunate thing because I needed that time to pour into myself. Whereas I had some other people I knew who they're so used to being around people and they needed that. And they were going through a lot of mental stress during that whole time. So I'm just grateful that, I was able to have a positive outlook on it. And the people around me, when they were talking about negative feelings, I was trying my best to, give whatever 2 cents of advice I had. And I feel like the best remedy for all of that is just being able to know that whatever you have in front of you is a blessing. Like a lot of people lost their lives during this. So I feel like even if you lost a job or if you didn't have as much money as you had before COVID, I just feel like the fact that you're able to still be breathing should be a blessing alone.
Yeah, I can't argue with you on that one, man. We definitely, like I said before, we definitely took it for granted a lot, and I hope this gives us the experience to not take that for granted moving forward. Like appreciating the little moments, little things you have, not over proportionalizing things, blowing things out of proportion. That's not a big deal, like previously I've known for myself, man. Sometimes you let like male ego get in the way, and you'll argue with somebody and be like, man, maybe I'll speak to them next week or next month or something like that. Right now, I'm not talking to them, but man, right now it's like you can't
I
do that
had
no
some
more.
friends that I hadn't spoken to in a long time, and doing some self thinking, like you start to realize that everything is a two-sided two-sided coin. Nothing is just, it's not just black and white. There's always a gray area in every conflict. So this is the time where, you know, it's a that saying of being the bigger person. It's a benefit to do that, and just nothing is ever that serious to not be able to like make amends with somebody that you care about. Because life is short, and if that person passes away, then you're gonna regret not being able to just say, "Hey, man," or "Hey, girl," whatever. Like, I'm sorry. Or let's just move forward. We're still both breathing. Let's just find a way to coexist, even if you're not being best friends with them consistently or communicating consistently. It's still okay to just say, "Hey, just let you know I still got love for you. I hope you're well." You know, that goes a long way. You never know what somebody's going through. So kindness goes a long way.
Definitely does, man. What I want to do a little bit, I just want to go back a little bit into like the story before we got everything going on right now, and then kind of lead up till now.
Yeah.
So I just want to start at the beginning, like New York, growing up in the '90s. Were you born in New York, or did you move to New York at a young age? How was?
I grew up in Westchester County,
Mhm.
from New York, from Greenburgh, New York,
Yep.
914. And it's funny that I say 914 because I feel like not a lot of people are familiar with where we're from. But grew up there pretty much my whole life, stayed in New York throughout college. And then I moved out to LA after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So talk about your experience like in Westchester, especially like in our era where we grew up in, right? Like in the '90s, going to 2000s. I feel like it's a huge melting pot of like all nationalities. Like we
Oh
had like
yeah.
Asian families, Indian,
Not
Middle
for
Eastern,
sure. I feel like
Caribbean.
you know, Greenburgh, White Plains area especially was just very much like you said, a melting pot. I was used to having friends of all different nationalities. You know, my family is Jamaican and
Mhm.
Irish, so I mean, growing up, I was bringing like food to school. I was just talking about this with one of my friends earlier today. Actually, my lunchbox to school sometimes would be things like curry chicken and things of that nature. Bringing it to school, rice and peas, and you know, kids either would be like, "Ew, what the hell is he eating?" Or like, "Yo, can I try some of that? That looks good." So it's
Yep.
like a lot of different mixing of cultures. You know, being able to be exposed to different walks of life. I feel like that's a beautiful thing to be able to do at a young age, because then when you go into the real world, you're not just like blocked into this box of what you're used to. You're kind of used to pretty much a little bit of everything. So we were
Mhm.
fortunate to grow up with that. Obviously, you know, hip hop was a big thing. Um, Growing up in New York in the 90s, we grew up when Ja Rule was popping,
Yep.
Ashanti, Nelly, Yin Yang Twins, all of that, like
Yeah.
real bashers.
Ludicrous.
Like people in our generation, like I was just seeing a video the other day of kids these days doing these TikTok dances and stuff. Meanwhile, we're back in high school, we're like on the wall, like jeans stains on the wall because everybody's, you know, catching a dub. So we grew up in a different era, but it was a lot of fun. I feel like, you know, the other thing is I have friends now being turning 30. I have friends now that have kids, and it's just crazy how the kids today are all in their phone, or, you know, we didn't have Zoom. We couldn't do this interview when we were in high school like
I
this. We would
know.
have to be in
Yeah.
the same room, right?
Yep.
So kids today, they're just so used to these screens and they don't know what it's like to actually interact outside and have real human interactions. Like some kids, their first experience of school is on Zoom right now. They've never even been into a classroom, which is, it's mind-boggling. And I really wonder what's gonna come out of the you know, how is this gonna be coming out of COVID? Like what's humanity gonna be like moving forward, you know? But we
Yeah.
grew up fortunate, I believe, you know, being able to have a very mixed experience and be exposed to a lot of different cultures.
Definitely, man. I feel like in the time we just had previously with Trump being president and now going into Biden, I feel like not much has changed as far as some of the experiences like racism and things like that. I feel like it's just been a little bit more exposed. And I know even before our time, our parents growing up, there was always this thing of like colorism, right? Darker, lighter, things like that. How is your, but no, like you being Irish and Jamaican, how is that experience for you growing up? Like, was that ever a thing even brought up to you? Like you were lighter or whatever the
Oh
situation because
yeah.
you're partially
You
Jamaican?
know,
You ever
it,
experienced that?
yeah, for sure. It was interesting because growing up in Greenburgh, you know, most of my friends, pretty much 95% of my friends are black growing up. I mean, my mother's Jamaican, so everybody in my family was either your complexion or darker, in the sense of
Mm,
all my cousins, my mom, everybody I grew up with. So being the lightest one in the family, there was always like and I think, as kids, when you're not used to something, the first thing you do is joke about it or tease, because a lot of kids just don't know how to react to something different without, making fun of it or something like that. So
Hmm.
I would get teased, in school, white boy or things of that nature. But it's interesting because like the actual fully white kids in class never got that. So I think there was always this thing where kids knew you were like them, but not fully like them. So they would have to they were confused. So they would tease and things of that nature. But, I never really took too much offense to it because growing up in my family, I had thick skin. My cousins, we joked on each other and fought each other and wrestled and all that type of stuff as a young kid. I think I got into like one fight when I was in second grade, and I like punched this kid in the nose because I had one of those hats that were like I had one of the those Inca hats, with the flaps and like the
Yeah,
top
facts. I had
thing.
one too as a kid. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I
They
had
tied
one
the
of those.
bottom.
Yeah, so this dude, he ripped it off my head and he started throwing it back and forth, and he was like, "Man, stop wearing this immigrant hat to school, whatever, whatever." And that hit a nerve because I remember my mom telling me when she moved from Jamaica, like people would joke on her about being an immigrant. So that word, it was like I was cool with the white boy thing, like it didn't bother me. But once he said something about immigrant, I feel like at that point I was like, nah, fuck this. I'm about to like teach you a lesson.
Yeah.
So I remember I punched him in the face and I put him in a headlock. And at the time I had this teacher, Mr. Durant. And I don't know if you remember Mr. Durant.
Mr. Durant, sound familiar. Sound familiar for
Yeah, he
sure.
like pulled me off of him and he was like, Nick, I heard what happened, but you can't do that. But to be honest, like the way I was raised, my father was a fighter. He was a boxer. And he told me, he said sometimes people have to get punched in the mouth to learn a lesson. Not saying that violence is the answer at all, but at that age, that's what I did. And ever since then, I never got teased again. So I mean, I would definitely say violence isn't the answer, but at the same time, kids who tease other kids, it's like you should be kind to everybody because you never know when a kid is going to have like that one thing that's like, you know what, I'm tired of taking this heat from whoever's doing this and decide to defend themselves, whether it be with fists or words or whatever. So, I never was a bully, and I'm happy about that because there are times where I know people who we grew up with that are doing really amazing things, and people who used to tease them in high school or before that, they're never going to reach back because they're like, nah, I remember back in like fifth, sixth, seventh, 10th
Yep.
grade, you were calling me a lame or whatever because
Yep.
I couldn't afford Jordans or something like that. Now I could afford to buy Jordan stocks,
Yep.
and I could put you on, but I don't feel like it because you were an asshole.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, energy goes around full circle for sure. That's one of the things I
Good.
feel like as well. Like being a bully or something like that is never cool. Like some people do forgive, but at times, man, you might have to relive that, like live with that karma that comes before that,
Yeah,
man. But as kids, we don't
exactly.
know. I feel
Exactly.
like sometimes as kids, we see what people have done before us. We got older brothers or older cousins, and they joke on us, so we go back and we give that same energy, not realizing, you know, that little kid might be getting picked on every single day. You might be the 40th person that's joked on them and cracked
I
on
mean,
them.
if I have whenever I do have kids, I'm gonna let them know. Like if somebody ever puts their hands on you at school, or if somebody like says something super derogatory, like if it's just words, try to ignore them. But if they touch you, punch them back. Like
Yeah.
that's just I don't believe in the turn the other cheek policy when it comes to kids taking abuse from other kids because
Mhm.
that has long-term effects. And I feel like the best thing to do is just let them know like you're not going to be able to talk to me like this or touch me or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel the same way, man. That's how I felt like I was raised. I don't mind you joking at all because I used to joke all the time too. Never was
Yeah,
bullying nobody, but always
you
snapping
gotta know
jokes.
how
And
to joke. It's
yeah,
different when it's
exactly.
joking, but once
Yeah.
things get like, super racist or physical or anything like that,
Yep.
it is
So
what it is
it's
at
out of
that
my
point.
hands.
Yeah.
So, as far as the acting aspect, when did that start to come about? Was that in Woodlands when they had the program for like the drama program in Woodlands, or how
So
did
it's
that
funny.
start?
It's funny actually you say that. In Woodland, so Nico was in charge of the arts program, Nicco Annan.
Hmm.
After Nico, he's nominated actually for Best Actor for the NAACP Image Awards now for his role in P Valley.
Dope, man.
But
Shout out to him. That's a huge accomplishment, man. I hope he wins that
yeah,
for sure.
super huge. the fact that he was in charge of our arts program, and he's actually the first person that told me I should act. And I wasn't into that. I was like, man, I'm just trying to make money. I was working like a job. I think I was working at Party City at the time. And I was like, I'm not trying to be after school work, like doing acting. I'm trying to make money. So
Yeah.
he put me in a little film. I was like, this is cool, but this isn't my cup of tea. You know what I mean? Ended up kind of just, I was like, whatever. I wanted to be a journalist. So I went to school, studied journalism. But while I was in college, this other woman, Brittany Williams, she put me in a theater production. She told me to audition. I was in the theater production. I had the best time of my life. I was like, wow, this is actually really fun. I wish this could be a realistic career path. Did the play, did another one after that, went on into the journalism field. Now I was working at this place, AOL Studios at the time, and I was hosting a sports show. But the sports show, 2 Point Lead, basically was about athletes coming in and doing skits that our comedy writers would make. So these athletes were coming in to act, and I would fill in and act with some of them sometimes when I'm not hosting or interviewing them. And as I'm doing that, I'm like, damn, the fact that I'm able to do this with sports makes me really want to chase this as a career path. So I kept talking about it and manifesting it, but I still wasn't quitting my day job to do it. Okay. Fast forward to 2018, I make a video on Instagram about Oxtail Gravy. I'm like making this skit about Oxtail Gravy in a Jamaican accent because this lady at a restaurant gave me a whole bunch of Oxtail Gravy. I made the video. It decided to go viral. And it had like a couple million hits. And all of a sudden that night, I got a direct message from Carmen Cuba Casting. And they were saying that, hey, Oprah's people, they saw your video. They wanted to know if you'd be interested in auditioning for David Makes Man. It's going to be on OWN. It's produced by Michael B. Jordan and Oprah. And I'm like, what? Yeah, sure. So I get an acting coach that weekend. I practice, I audition. Within the next week, I was on the show. And after that, I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I think this is a sign for me. So decided to pursue acting, but I still was afraid to let go of that steady paycheck. Now, the following year, I ended up getting laid off from that job. So I had no job, but I still had this passion for acting. I said, you know what? I think this is a way of God telling me that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So let me stop applying to these full-time corporate jobs and decide to take a restaurant job, put my ego aside, start working in a restaurant at night. So I have the daytime to start doing auditions and trying to find an agent. I ended up finding a manager at the time. I was at this restaurant. I overhear him talking to one of his clients about Sundance Film Festival. I go up to him. I'm like, hey, I just finished working on David Makes Man. I didn't have an agent at the time. They reached out to me. Would you mind meeting with me about possibly representing me? We had dinner. We hit it off. After that, he started sending out on auditions. And then, the rest was history. At this point, I booked a showcase with the ABC studios. And then I found my agent. And then I ended up booking Law and Order Organized Crime, which I'm working on right now.
Man, that's an incredible story, man. So that was in a kind of a shorter period of time from 2018 to 2021.
Yeah, it was, and that's the real blessing about it. It's like, I struggled for sure financially for a couple of years. There were times where, I didn't have $2,000 to my name at certain points because, when COVID happened, the restaurant job stopped and I was only working off my savings. And I'm like, okay, I need to try to book something, but it was impossible to book a job because everything was shut down due to COVID. You know what I mean? So I was sitting there looking at my fridge, wondering how long am I going to be able to fill my fridge, pay rent, pay for my car, keep on the lights. It was really scary.
Yeah.
And the way TV shows work is after you act on a show, the amount of times it airs on television, the Screen Actors Guild Union sends you a check, a residual check in the mail, which is basically your payment for the show being on air. Now, I was in my crib broke. I'm like super broke. I have like one more rent check in my bank account. I'm like, all right, I don't know what I'm going to do for money. I'm going through mail because I had mail sent to my mom's house. I go pick up the mail. I had this mail for like 2-3 weeks. I'm sitting on my couch, kind of depressed. going through my mail, I see a letter from SAG. I open it up. It's a check for a few $1,000s. And I'm like, Lord knows I needed this.
Thank you for the blessing, right?
Yeah. It was like straight miracle. It was out of a movie.
Mhm.
And that's what kept me like super motivated. Like, you know what? God's going to take care of it at the end of the day. I need to really just stay focused and know that things are going to come.
Definitely, man. I feel like that's a dope story. Like you said, moving from that comfortable stage of getting that paycheck that is always there to something that you feel like is actually a passion and wanting to go towards it. It's hard to move away from that, I feel like, because that's like the cushion, you know what I mean? Like you gotta have something to fall back on at times, but I feel like understanding that, my dream my dream goal may be something that's way off scale from now. And if I try to stay in my comfort zone and do my passion, it might just not work. So I just gotta take that leap of faith. And it's worked. So
You have to. I mean, I've seen some of our favorite actors and some of our favorite artists, people who decided to choose art as a passion. Their stories, some of them are like, people are living in their cars or worse. And it's like, if they were decided to give up, they would have given up whenever it got that rough. Then we wouldn't have the people in the world that are doing their thing right now. Steve Harvey, I heard his story. He was down to like $35, and then he went to the Apollo, performed at the Apollo, gets a crazy ovation. He was like the only. Jamie Foxx got booed that night. All these people, DL Hughley got booed that night, and he goes and gets a raving ovation, starts to host at the Apollo, and then boom, he becomes Steve Harvey. What if he would have given up? You know what I
that day,
mean?
right? That early that day and said, I'm done, man. It's over.
Yeah,
Not working.
yeah.
You never know. That's very true, man. Like sometimes the blessings don't always come when we want them, but they always come on time, man. So you got to definitely make sure we take advantage of that. I know we were just talking about Nicco, right? And so he, like you said, he's currently on P Valley doing his thing on Starz, and I love to see like as far as the personality and the accomplishments that are coming out of Greenburgh and Westchester County. Do you feel like the people of Greenburgh and Westchester are finally starting to get their just due and recognition for the talent that they possess in the town?
I it's interesting because I think Greenburgh has always had talent, just like a lot of other neighborhoods that nobody has ever heard of. But the beauty about right now is the fact that social media is such like a force. And if you're putting your stuff out on the internet, like it could easily be discovered. I don't know if you've ever heard of Earn Your Leisure podcast.
For sure, yeah, I follow them. Yeah, they're incredible.
Like
man.
Those dudes are famous. They were just on the Breakfast Club, and I'm like, yo, I grew up next to this dude.
I know, right?
My grandma's house.
I literally worked at Kent with Troy. He was a counselor, and I was working in the maintenance department. Literally, like
crazy.
and Rashad, both of them
are literally Rashad and Troy. They're literally from my block.
Yep.
And it's like to see them on a stage with millions of followers. My cousin hit me up the other day. He's like, yo, you should listen to this podcast. I'm like, bro, I grew up with these dudes.
Yeah.
Like I've known them my whole life.
Yep.
So it's just amazing to see the talent that's coming out of our neighborhood for sure. And I just want to keep that going and keep bigging us up and working horizontally. Like when you invited me to be on this podcast, I was like, for sure. I'm always blessed and happy whenever people from where I'm from, people I've grown up with, I've been able to cross paths with, have some type of synergy with me where we can work together on something and, help each other out for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I feel the same way. I mean, that's kind of one of the reasons I built a platform and started the No Script podcast. I said, man, there's so many people, like myself, like other people like yourself, like you said, Troy, Earn Your Leisure, like Nicco, so many talents, so many people that are either on their way up, already on the coast of doing a thing, and so many different stories that could be told, and so many conversations that need to be had. Why not? I feel like I was a good person to do it and start that platform. So far I've had a lot of great guests on, some from Westchester, some out of Westchester. I've had conversation with great people. I feel like it's very important, man, to get that acknowledgement and to have those conversations because you never know where that initial conversation may lead to. You know what I mean? So
that's so true.
Yeah, man, it's been an incredible journey. Do you feel like in your past of 28, like in the past, like as far as working towards your goal now from 2018 to 2021, do you feel like you had that quote unquote "mama, I made it" moment? like I made it, brother. This is what I worked so hard for, and I finally made it. I'm here.
When I feel like I made it, to be honest with you,
yeah,
it actually had nothing to do with career aspirations in the sense of I remember being in my apartment in Brooklyn. It was just a random, maybe it was a Tuesday or a Wednesday. I woke up in the middle of COVID and I had some breakfast. I think I worked out and I decided to take a bike ride. And I realized that even though I'm not working on anything, I was like, wait, I'm healthy. I'm happy. I feel great. My family is great. I was like, whatever comes or doesn't come, I'm content. Like I'm good. I'm good with where I'm at right now. So
Mm,
no job or no amount of fame or money is going to make me any happier than
mm,
where I'm at right now. So, I mean, everything else is just extra. I
mm,
feel like the happiness has to come from within. Like there's nothing where I'm going to be like, I finally arrived. Like, in my opinion, I know I'm going to win an Emmy. I know I'm going to win an Oscar. I know I'm going to be hosting like something special one day. And it's like, that's dope. But at the end of the day, it's like, to me, it's all extra to where I'm at already. I'm like, I'm totally fulfilled right now because I've been able to realize that happiness is supposed to come from within as opposed to outside things. Because if COVID taught us anything, it's that all of that stuff could be gone like that. You know what I mean?
definitely. Yeah.
So I already feel like I've made it. I'm good. I feel real good.
Man, that's incredible, man. I'm happy to hear that, man, because in the journey of what it is that you're doing, like a lot of people in any kind of role when it comes to entertaining people, most of them feel like the fulfillment comes from the acknowledgement or the accolades or the different things that they're going to receive from doing what they enjoy doing. And it takes a little bit of time later on to realize that it all, like you said, it all comes from inner self, family, the love that you get from the people that genuinely love you and care about you and know you, the mental health and taking care of yourself. All these things play a part in that happiness. You know what I
If
mean?
you rely on the accolades and you rely on people giving you this gratification, it's like all of that. A lot of it is all fluff and fake anyway. Because those same people that are bigging you up and doing all this great praise of you, if you decide to fall from grace or something bad happens, they're gonna be the same people writing those terrible stories about you or saying, "Oh, that dude is this, that, and the third." It's like, nah. There's a poem by Rudyard Kipling, and it's called "If," and part of it says, treat success and failure the same. They're both imposters because at the end of the day,
Mm,
it's all temporary. We're going to go through ups, we're going to go through downs. If you treat the good and the bad the same, then you're going to be fine because you realize that both are going to happen in life and we define good and bad differently. So, I feel like, I'm gonna love the fact when I'm on network TV. My show premieres April 1st, Law and Order Organized Crime. I hope everybody watches it.
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great moment. Um, which I'm gonna be happy my mom and my family can see that, my friends. But at the same time, even if that didn't happen, I still feel totally happy with where I'm at in life in the sense of, you know, I'm just grateful to be able to smile every day, no matter where I'm at. You know what I mean?
For sure, yes, yeah, definitely gonna take advantage of that, man. Like I said, like I told you earlier, man, you look happy, you look great, man. So I'm very happy for you.
Thanks,
So
bro.
I do want to ask you a question, right? Because you hear these stories about like Hollywood and black actors like having to put on a dress. Even like Lord Jamar had made a statement saying that he believes that black actors can't like officially blow up unless they put on a dress for Hollywood. Do you believe that, and do you feel like that's the only way that like a black male leading role or actor can actually fulfill or become successful in Hollywood is by putting on that dress in this day and age?
Absolutely not. You look at Mahershala Ali, you look at Chadwick Boseman, you look at Jonathan Majors, you look at Lakeith Stanfield, Daniel Kaluuya, Damson Idris. The list goes on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Actors of today, like the beautiful thing about being black right now in the creative spaces, they can't fuck with us the same way they used to be able to. You know what I mean? Like the people like Martin Lawrence, people like Bill Bellamy, Jamie Foxx, who had to go through all of that in the 90s. They kind of paved the way, and I respect them for it, and they've gotten to where they've gotten to. But at the end of the day, like, you got to know that fame, all that stuff is kind of like, you got it, it comes with a price a lot of times. And not to say that there's anything wrong with a man putting on a dress if they feel like doing that,
Yeah.
but if if you're at a point where you want to be taken seriously and you don't feel like taking roles like that, you have to know what to say yes to and what not to. You can't chase fame, because sometimes people will be having you do things that you really just don't want to do, like whether that be a role or whether that be speaking up for something you really don't believe in just because you feel like this is going to get you notarized.
Mhm.
I just feel like, like the actors I just mentioned, Mahershala's and people like that, they've been able to show us that you don't have to do any role you don't want to do and you could still be super successful. Mahershala Ali's on his second Oscar, I believe. I'm sure he'll get a leading man Oscar one day as well. So,
Mhm.
no, I don't think that's the case at all anymore. For sure, I think in comedy, it
Mhm.
was really a case in the '90s. It seemed that way, at least.
Yeah.
Whether it be in Living Color or any of those shows, it's like Black men were always seen as like having to do some cross dressing in order to get successful. But
Yeah.
like I said, I see nothing wrong with it if that's what you choose to do. But if you don't want to do that, then you shouldn't have to in order just to be quote unquote famous. So,
Mhm.
so I don't think that's the case anymore at all.
Okay, I respect that. I feel like I do agree with you on that right now as far as some of the names that you brought up and you mentioned. I definitely don't feel like I've seen them compromise their integrity to get into roles and situations and to get leading roles and to do exactly what it is they want to do. I know right now Michael B. Jordan, one of the people you named, I know he's working on the next Creed film. Well, I
Yeah.
hope that I'm excited to see what he does with that and that movie. And like you said, just seeing where he's gone from The Wire up until now, the roles he probably didn't even take, what we don't even know about. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Probably got him to where
exactly.
he's at right now.
There's another dude. He was just in the Billie Holiday movie. What's his name? His name is no, I'm missing his name right now. But anyway, he plays
Hmm.
Billie Holiday's love interest in the movie. He was also in Moonlight.
Okay.
Trevante Rhodes, I believe his name is.
Okay.
There was an article that came out about him after he did Moonlight. There were a lot of roles he turned down because he didn't feel like it fit his brand right, and he didn't work for like 2 or 3 years
Mm.
because of the roles he was turning down. But I mean, he just did the Billie Holiday movie, and that movie was incredible. If you've seen it on Hulu,
I haven't checked it out yet. I'm gonna check it out though.
so good, man. It's a great film. But yeah, this was the first time he worked since the Bird Box movie he did with Sandra Bullock on Netflix.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so you got to know what to say yes to and what to say no to.
Very important. I feel like it's very important. Like you said, just stapling your brand is important to know. I feel like sometimes you've seen actors previously think that a certain role will help their brand and they went out and did certain things in certain roles and took on roles, but it hurts sometimes. So you kind of got to know what works and what doesn't work, but it's hard without actually trying it. So it's a really thin line, I feel like, for people, anybody trying to understand where your brand is and what will work best for you and what won't. So
Sure.
yeah, man. Let's touch on the movie David Makes Man a little bit, man. That is something that I want to speak on, man. I feel like that is the show itself is the epitome of Black excellence. Like you said, it was produced by Oprah Winfrey and Michael B. Jordan. I believe it's like exclusively on YouTube because that's where I found it on. I purchased the season on there, so I
Well,
believe
it's also on HBO Max as well right
it
now.
was. Oh, okay. I looked. I didn't even see it. I was looking for it, and I happened to come across it on YouTube. So HBO Max and
Yeah.
YouTube. If you guys haven't checked it out, definitely do so. So you kind of went over how your role came about on there. How was the experience though? Like as far as being on that set, working with them. A lot of those actors. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of them before, but they were incredible. Like I mean, like they seemed like they were very, very seasoned
Yeah,
actors.
that experience was priceless. It was my first TV show that I had been a part of. Yeah, I was lucky to go from never working on an actual big budget set to go into a full speaking role. I was in 6 out of the 10 episodes in the season,
Mm,
playing the role of Desmond. And the first cool experience I had was I'm in the hair and makeup trailer and I'm getting my hair cut and I hear a voice and everybody's like, "Oh, hey, Miss Felicia." And I turn around and I see Felicia Rashad there. And
oh,
I was
okay.
like, wow, like this is Claire Huxtable. Like, this is crazy. And she walks into the trailer and I've never met her in my life, but it's like she was glowing. She had this radiance about her. And I'm
I could
like, "Oh,
imagine.
hi, Mrs. Rashad." She's like, "Hey, baby, how's everything going?" I'm like, "Life is good. I'm happy to be here." And from that moment, I was just like, wow, like this is gonna be one of the most incredible experiences. I have to make sure I soak all this in. The storyline is incredible. You know, working with an amazing writer like Terrell McCraney. He also is a co-writer and Oscar winner of Moonlight,
Okay.
Barry Jenkins. So he was the creator of David Makes Man. But yeah, it was a beautiful experience. You know, working with so many talented Black and brown actors. It was just, oh man, I loved every moment of it. It was really great.
Man, I can only imagine, man. Did you get a chance to sit down with like a Michael B. Jordan or Oprah on the set and soak some of that information up from them? Were they actually on the
So
set at
they
all?
weren't on the set. I did get to meet Oprah. I met Oprah and I met Michael B. I was able to take a photo with Oprah and have a few words with her. That was amazing in itself.
Yeah.
I think that's my most liked Instagram photo. Me and Oprah at the premiere in California. But yeah, I was just blessed to be able to just be around so many talented people. Oprah was super gracious when I did meet her. And I'm just grateful to have been able to be a part of season 1. And season 2 is actually coming out sometime soon. I think they just finished shooting.
Okay.
But season 2 should be on the way probably this fall, if I'm not mistaken.
That was actually one of my next questions, man. I was saying, what direction are they going to take? Is there a season coming out again? Because by the end of that first season, it feels like an unknown, like as far as what's going to come next. So,
Yeah,
like, I don't
yeah,
want to ruin the
yeah.
story for anybody, but man, that was an incredible story, man.
Yeah. So they have season 2 coming out. I think there's an older version of some of the characters. There's an older version of David. So I don't know if they're going to be going back and forth in time, but
Yep.
I expect it to keep its great writing style, and those writers are super talented. So I'm excited to watch as a fan since I'm not a part of season 2. I'm
Yeah.
really excited. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I thought that you did an incredible job in season 1, man. Desmond was a very interesting character. He was a gangster for sure.
Bad guy. He was a bad guy, you know,
he
bad
wasn't
man.
he wasn't playing any games,
No,
man.
he wasn't. He wasn't. You know, Desmond is not somebody you want to piss off,
Facts.
especially at dinner. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, man, that role was crazy, man. So you do see in roles kind of like Desmond's. I feel like you see people like that get lost in those roles, like a Heath Ledger and some other people. Man, how hard was that to kind of stay in the zone of that role but not get lost in it? Because I feel like that is not an easy role to probably get off your shoulders.
You
You
know,
know what I
it's
mean?
interesting because I know certain people that have certain roles where they're in a dark place, play certain people. Even Michael B. Jordan was talking about playing Killmonger and how he
Yep.
needed therapy to get out of that
Mm.
dark solitude place that he was in. For me, with that role, I was able to kind of just like switch it on and switch it off somehow.
Okay.
I don't know if it has to do with the fact that I had so much. I was just so excited to be a part of this, and you know, I've always wanted to play a bad guy, so it was like exciting for me, as opposed to me really becoming this person. I feel like I just knew how to switch it off when I was offset. I kind of decompressed and felt really good. You know, I have a lot of love around me, which I'm blessed to have, and I was more so excited to talk as Nick, telling people, my family and friends, like, "Yo, I just killed it on set today, Desmond," blah blah, as opposed to, you know, doing these roles over and over and getting sucked in and feeling like, I feel like once it becomes, it's always work at the end of the day, but once it becomes like, once you get kind of, you lose that, maybe once you lose that excitement of this being like a new thing, because that was my first big job. So maybe later down the line, it would be harder to get out of the mindset of these roles when you dive deeper and you become more of an experienced actor. But, you know, at the time, I was just so excited that I feel like I was Nick automatically when I got off set. Now I have an experience with this one acting class I did where the teacher, this is before David Makes Man, and this is when I knew I was able to kind of go to a dark place and come out of it right away. So he had us do this imagination exercise where we're imagining we're in this new world that we've never been to before, and you know, we're having this great time in this world, like making up like everything around us. And he said, you know, over there is after like 15 minutes of being in this new world and kind of completely losing ourselves in this imaginary world, he was like, there's a door over there, and behind the door is somebody you thought you would never see again in your life. And immediately my grandmother who passed away came to my mind. So I'm thinking my grandma's behind this door. I open the door, the imaginary door. I start crying. Like I feel like all this emotion because I haven't seen my grandma in so long. And now she's in this world with me. So I'm showing her around. And then all of a sudden, like 2 minutes later, he's like, okay, guys, like you have to say goodbye to this person and you're never going to see them again. So after being so happy, I go back to this sadness. I'm crying. I'm like, damn, I'm never going to see her again. I say bye. Within a couple of minutes, I'm like, okay, I'm fine. Like this is still the same life it's always been.
Hmm.
This is just a place I went to, and now I'm able to pull myself back into this real dimension that I'm in.
Interesting. Okay, for sure.
So yeah, I was able to kind of just realize that, if I do have to go to a dark space, I know that I could easily pull myself out of it from that experience.
Okay. So talk about what goes into preparing for a new role in a new story. I feel like a lot of people, they only get to see the finishing product and they don't really know what kind of goes into your mental space as far as just preparing for when you look at a story, you see a script and you learn that. How do you kind of prepare for that and get ready for a new role that you're getting into?
Well, a lot of times, depending on who your agent is or your my agents are very good in the sense of the roles they send me. It's almost as if they know my life or something, because a lot of these roles that I like, the role I'm currently playing right now, a lot of it has to do with a life experience that I've already gone through. And the first part of acting, in my opinion, is real life experience, learning how to break down a character, like create a background for this character. Like you make up this story in your head where you're like, okay, why does this do? You see how they interact with people in their world. And you're like, why does he talk to his father this way? And you might think about your own life experiences with your father and maybe relate to it and be like, well, my father did X, Y, and Z when I was a kid. We did this together, or this person wasn't really in my life, or this person did me wrong, or this person did me right. And you start to kind of inject your own life experiences into this character and learn how to embody yourself into that character with those certain circumstances. Like, how would Nick act if his wife cheated on him? Or how would Nick act if he has a baby on the way? You know what I mean? So you kind of just put yourself in those positions. Other than that, I mean, if it's a story that is based off some true event, you might actually want to do some research. I've auditioned for parts of real people from the past. And, you might want to watch some documentaries about these people, read some material on the, see interviews. How did this person move? How do they smoke a cigarette? How do they drink? How do they walk? How do they talk? And kind of just put your own spin on that. You know what I mean? So a lot of it is, the fun part really is the preparation, like the actual research. It's like if somebody tells you to paint a plant, you're going to think about what plants from your actual real life. So it's kind of the same kind of thing. You're painting this story from your own life experiences and what research you've been able to do.
Interesting. That's very interesting. I feel like for myself, a lot of my friends, they always tell me like how funny I am. I need to try certain things, like getting into like doing comedy and stuff. And I always think like, one day in the future, I want to have like a sitcom or like a television show talking about my story and kind of doing that. And I feel like me personally, I might need therapy after it, man, because you're trying to soak in, like you said, the different personalities, different things, even bringing things from your past and trying to
Yeah.
use that to play in a visual, man. It might be a little rough for me, man. You just
No,
talking.
acting is therapy. And that's the
Mm,
interesting part. I've been able to unpack a lot of trauma, a lot of good and bad things that have happened to me in my life just through these roles. Sometimes you have to be super vulnerable with yourself and open with yourself to know, like, okay, I'm gonna have to really like actually be okay with embodying this situation. Even if I've had a similar experience in my past, this might trigger something, but
mm,
that's what people don't get. Like people think, oh, acting's easy. A lot of it is really not.
yeah.
It's super, super emotional. You know what I mean? You're diving really deep into all these different storylines. And when you see people going through stuff on screen, they're going through stuff on screen,
Yep.
just to give people that relatability and being able for people to see like this is just a bird's eye view into real life experiences and real situations that happen all the time. This is just on your screen.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just to look at it as you talking about that, man, the young man that plays David and David Makes Man, so many emotions and so many so much he had to go through. I'm like, man, like you said, you can only imagine what he went through in his personal life to try to trigger that and get that out of him, man. It was very
Yeah.
impressive, man. He's to be that young. I'm not sure how old he is, but he was very, very good
I
as
think at
far
the
as.
time he was probably 14 or 15, actually.
Wow, man,
Yeah.
he's wow, he's incredible. Like, all you guys did a very great job. Like everybody in itself in the story made for a great show. Like I said, I'm gonna go out and definitely support and watch season 2 for sure. But
Yeah.
man, it was the young David, man. He was
Yeah,
incredible,
he did
man.
his thing. He did. Achille did his thing. Achille
That's his
made
name,
it out.
Achille. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to check him out. I got to check him out and see what else he's gonna get into. But he's very
I think he
very
actually
great
just
actor.
he's about to do a movie. He's about
Wow,
to do a movie about this NFL player as a kid or something of that nature. Some
really?
football player and his friendship with another dude. Yeah.
Oh, that's very impressive. I'm gonna check that out for sure, man. For yourself, give me 5 roles that you enjoy that you feel like you could have played and you would have killed those roles, man. Already movies like I watch this movie. I'm like, damn, I would have killed that role.
That's a tough question. I mean,
Me, I feel like for me, Bishop would have been the one role I'd have killed that role, man.
Bishop,
Tupac and
which one?
Bishop. Yeah, no, Tupac and Bishop.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay.
I'd have killed that role, man.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I think so, man.
Juice.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man.
Okay, that's cool. That was a good movie. For me, I mean, I really loved Daniel Kaluuya's role in Get Out. I thought that would have been really fun to play.
Mm,
I
yeah.
really loved Leonardo DiCaprio's role in Wolf of Wall Street. I would have loved to play that role. Oh
Okay.
man, yeah, he had a good time. I like doing things that aren't close to my real life story, just because like you actually get to just. It's like playing as a kid. It's like when you're a kid, you're like, oh, I'm gonna act like I'm a doctor today, or I'm gonna act like I'm this, that, and the third. And it's
Yep.
like to play a rich Wall Street billionaire that stole all this money. It's like I'm not gonna do that in real life, but
Exactly.
it'd
Right.
be
But
fun
it's
to
fun.
play that in a movie.
Definitely.
What else? I love boxing, so I would love to do
Mm,
like a Creed situation. Like I could have definitely played Creed for sure.
mm.
That's three. Fourth one. Fourth one could probably be some. I think the fourth and the fifth would probably be something like a Need for Speed. I don't know, something adventure, like something where I'm actually doing something like Drive, like Fast and the Furious, or something of that
Mm.
nature. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, for sure. Like an action, kind of like an action, but
action, and then
racing.
maybe the fifth one, maybe like Anthony Mackie's role in the Avengers movie. You know, I would love to be in a
Oh,
superhero film for sure. That's
oh
one of my
man,
goals. So,
man, I love you, Black Spider Man. Man, that'd be
oh,
incredible.
what? That would be incredible. What?
Man,
Yeah.
that's dope, man. Those are 5 incredible roles, and all which I can see you in some aspect definitely pulling those roles off, man. That's interesting, man. I'm excited to see where things go for you from this moving forward. Just seeing the kind of role that you like to play and seeing what you're able to embody moving forward. That's really interesting, man.
Appreciate that, man.
Of,
Yeah, yeah.
of course, I do have a question. So I know Malik Yoba. He's a star previously of like New York Undercover.
I met Malik. Yeah,
Really? Okay. So, for people who don't know, he played like the black cop on New York Undercover.
right.
He feels like that. He wants to play all different kind of like characters and spirits and roles from like women and of nationalities and all different kind of ranges. Do you feel the need to extend your range as much as possible at some point, like just going completely out of your element?
Yeah, I mean, like, I would love to be able to play like a. Not saying that I want to play the Joker, but I would love to be able to get to the point where I can do what Joaquin Phoenix did in the Joker. I think
Mm,
that was one of the most incredible, transformative performances I've ever seen in my life. That might be the best acting I've ever seen in my life. Joaquin
mm.
Phoenix's Joker.
I still
Uh,
haven't seen the movie. I got to check it out.
oh, it's incredible. I mean, that dude, you got to watch it. Like
I'm
that
gonna
was
check
some
it
of the
out.
best acting I've ever seen in my life. And he won every award for it, which he deserved. So yeah, I feel like I never want to be put into a box and kept there. You know what I mean? I would love to play roles that are written for all different types of people and be able to show them that I could do the same kind of thing. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I think it's important as an artist to keep stretching your boundary and stretching what people think is your peak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. As an actor, I feel like it's very important to find out exactly how far you can go and how far your range is, because at the end of the day, it's a complete, like, it's a body of work. You know what I mean? If you can put a painting, if Denzel, for instance, if you can put all these different pieces that he's done, as far as like The Equalizer and Training Day and playing Malcolm X and all these Glory and all these different roles that he's done onto John Q. You know what I mean? All
Yeah.
these different ranges of roles is
Training,
very,
I mean, completely different than a lot of roles he's played, but it was amazing,
yes.
you know?
Yeah, that and American Gangster, I feel like those are
Oh
his two
yeah,
like
yeah,
two left roles, as far as him playing like more like what is it? What would it be? Antagonist characters, I guess.
yeah, yeah. Antagonist. You know, I think Denzel should have won an Oscar for Malcolm X, though.
Me
Personally,
too. Oh man, I think they had to give him one later on for Training Day. I feel like because of Malcolm X, they kind of alley-ooped him that one, because
yeah.
that was an incredible role. I feel like he embodied him. Me growing up, as far as being that young, that's kind of the first time in that time I even ever really like would see Malcolm X visually, and he
Right,
like
right, right. That
embodied
seems like
that role.
Malcolm X. Like that Denzel to me, a lot of times I think of that when I think of Malcolm X. Honestly,
Yep. Yeah. He like I said, he embodied that role. I'm pretty sure he took a lot in to get to play that role as well. Do you feel like there's a lot, like a line drawn for things that you would do on a set, as far as like a role you would take, or are you kind of like open to anything? Is there like something you like, I'm not doing that as an actor? For me, knowing that I'm just not doing, I would never take this role.
my thing is, as long as it's written authentically and the writing is amazing and the people behind it are authentic and good natured, and it's not a piece that's destroying black men or women,
Mm-hmm.
or painting a picture that's just false, then
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be opposed to playing that role. I'm open to a lot of different things. Obviously you have to read it and see what you're comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as it's written well and it's not a shitty script, then I'm always open to reading material, because it's art at the end of the day. And us as actors, we have to be able to embody, we have to be chameleons and be able to embody different things, whether it's somebody of if I'm going to be able to play a murderer, I should also be able to embody a homosexual man, or I should also be able to embody a person that's a thief. I should also be able to embody a pastor, or what I'm saying. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
as long as it's written well, and I'm going to be able to represent the people that I want to be able to step up and do this in the future, then I'm always going to be open to it.
Definitely, yeah. Do you feel like you don't have to give it on names, but you ever feel like you had a role that you got and you looked at it and you were like, yeah, I'm not doing this.
Oh,
It's not really.
100%. Yeah. I read a
You
script.
like,
I read a script the other day and I was just like, absolutely not. I'm not.
yeah.
This is just, and it was just a love story, but it was just,
Hmm.
the writing was bad. So it's like, you got to know what to say yes to and what to say no to. There's always going to
Yeah.
be situations where you just look at something, you're like, this isn't my brand, and I don't want to just get money. You know what I mean? It's not about the money,
Hmm.
because you might get a big check today, and just because you were part of a project that just is not the best representation of yourself or the people who you're supposed to be representing, you might not work for a long time after that, or people might not want to see you work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you for sure. Yeah, man. As far as for a young and upcoming actor or actress that is looking to get into the game, what would be some advice or some words of wisdom you would give them getting into the business?
I think times are changing, and I have such a unorthodox start to my career. My career really started off social media,
Hmm.
and then it transitioned into mainstream television, and eventually films. I feel like for the youth of today who want to get into acting, like, do it first yourself. Like, you have a phone, you have a laptop, you can record a full movie right off this thing right here. Like, there have been Oscars won from actual iPhone films. You don't need to wait for somebody to give you a role. I'm starting a production company with two of my close friends, and it's called Broken Whip Media. And the whole point of it is we're breaking the fold of waiting for people to tell us, yes, we're going to be making our own content, giving people the platform to express their voices. And you don't have to wait for somebody to give you an opportunity. You can make your own opportunities right now. It didn't cost you any money to start the No Scripts podcast, in the sense, I mean, you had to pay for the graphics and
Hmm.
the equipment, but in
Yep.
the reality of it, you did it yourself. This is something that you're
Exactly.
putting out yourself on YouTube, on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. So
Yep.
I think everybody has the opportunity to create their own art and put it out. You don't need a huge budget to do it, and you shouldn't wait for somebody to tell you that you can do it. Issa Rae, she started a YouTube
My
series,
girl,
Awkward
yeah.
Black Girl.
Yep.
Look at Issa Rae now. What if she was waiting around for somebody to give her an opportunity? You know?
Yeah, I love Issa for sure, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's yeah, you're right, man. I'm sad there's only one more season of Insecure coming up, man, but
yeah, it's a good show.
that's an incredible show, man. Yeah, that's true. That is a good point you brought up though, like not waiting for the opportunity, creating the opportunity for yourself, you know, like you said, like I could have been like, you know what, I'll wait for somebody to give me the opportunity to be a host on something they're doing, but instead I said, let me
Yeah,
create my own platform that I can speak in front of
no, for sure, for sure.
if y'all ever looking for actors for y'all for y'all, let me know, man. I'm always like I said, man. I'll audition, man. I'm trying to get my
Okay,
wings spread out there, man. I think
all
I'd be
right.
really good.
I'll keep that in mind for sure.
Thank you, man. I
Yeah,
appreciate that, man.
yeah.
At this point in your career, from starting off in 2018 to 2021, do you feel like that you're still up and coming at this point and have something to prove, or you kind of feel like I'm already on my trajectory going pretty much plain surface and just cruising at this point?
No, I mean, like I'm brand new in the industry. I mean, like, I'm on my second television show. I'm blessed to be here. I have a long way to go. I mean, I don't think there's ever a plateau. Morgan Freeman is still working. You know what I'm saying? He's about to be, I don't even know how old Morgan Freeman is.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, he's just like one of those everlasting human beings. So no, I don't think I don't look at it like that. I look at it as like, I'm gonna keep working as long as I'm healthy and having fun. The minute I stop having fun, then there's no reason to do it anymore. So I'm just blessed to be working right now, and I just want more and more roles to keep coming. I have friends and that I'm working with on creating our own films, our own projects, our own roles. So yeah, no, I'm just happy to be here, and I'm gonna keep grinding and keep shining. You know what I mean?
Hmm. It's a great mentality to have, man. Keep that going moving forward, man. And I feel like the
Yeah.
sky's the limit for you, bro, for sure.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it.
Of course, bro. What do you feel like has been like your biggest accomplishment so far? And it doesn't even have to be like the role you've taken, just from the experience.
The greatest what?
Oh, I'm sorry, your greatest accomplishment so far. And like I said, it doesn't have to be a role or anything. It could just be the experience that you had. Like this was just the greatest experience that I've had so far.
Um, in terms of acting,
Yeah, for sure. Or even outside of it. It doesn't have to be acting. It could be outside of
I
acting.
mean, my greatest experiences have always been traveling. To be honest with you,
Mm.
I've been to 22 countries so
Oh
far.
man.
Yeah, and that's my real like. That's what I love to do. I love acting, but when I'm not acting, my main thing to do is travel. I love to see the world and meet different people from different walks of life, taste different cuisines.
Mm.
So I mean, I've touched 5 continents so far. So I'm looking forward to going to Africa at some point. That's going to be a big accomplishment for me. I know
Damn,
it's going
man.
to be an amazing experience whenever I get over there. But yeah, man, traveling for me is probably my greatest experience in life, being able to just see the world. And I want to keep doing that. I urge everybody to get outside your comfort zone and get a passport and just go. You don't need a lot of money to do it. No matter if that's a misconception, but yeah, you just get out there and take pictures and see things and talk to people and taste things and just have a good time learning. And
Exactly. Yeah, learning all the other cultures. I
yeah,
feel like
each time I travel, I learn something new about myself. So
interesting. What did you feel like you learned the most recent in traveling? What do you feel like you learned?
when I went to Peru for New Year's of 2020, well, 2021. And I think what I learned out there was, everything happens the way it's supposed to. Like we are where we're supposed to be, and don't rush greatness. You know what I'm saying? Like just enjoy the ride. Like don't worry about getting to the top. Be happy that there's a table prepared for you right where you're at, and just enjoy that there while you're on your climb up. You don't have to get there today or tomorrow, because once you get there, it's like, all right, now what? So it's
Yeah.
like just enjoy the fact that you're progressing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. I listen. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that advice you just gave yourself for me personally, man, because I feel like that's very important, man. Like you
Yeah,
said, just enjoying the moment that you in, man, and not taking it for granted, but also waiting for whatever comes next.
yeah, for sure.
I do like that, man. Who are you anticipating on working with in the future? Do you have any people in mind, like anybody in mind that you're thinking about that you like? I want to work with this individual. I want to be able to, transfer
Um,
with this person and be in the film.
Yeah, I really admire Damson Idris, who's on Snowfall. He's a star of Snowfall right now. I love his
Okay.
acting style. I would love to co-star with him in a project. I really love Mahershala Ali's work style. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio, that would be a dream to work with him. Um, tons of people. Zazie Beetz, like she's incredible. Now I have a few people that I love their work. Rami, I forgot his last name, but he's on the show Rami. He's
Mhm.
a star of that show on Hulu. Yeah, there's a bunch of people I want to work. There's so many talented people right now. So just putting all of that out there, and hopefully when Law and Order Organized Crime comes out, a lot of these people see it and they'll be like, that dude would fit into my project. Let's hit him up. Let's hit his agents up. So
Definitely, yeah, for sure, man. Like I said, I'm excited to see. What was the date for that? When was the date of
that,
Law and
that,
Order?
that premieres April 1st, 10 p.m. on NBC.
Okay, awesome. I'm
10
gonna
p.m.
check it out.
Eastern. Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out for sure, man. Is there anything that we haven't touched on before we wrap up that you want to touch on or talk about that we haven't already spoken on? I mean, we talked
I
about a
feel like
lot.
we've talked a lot. I'm happy that we touched on everything we touched on. I'm happy to be sharing all these things with you and your audience. I wish you the best of luck with the podcast, and thank you so much for having me be a guest and be a part of this, man. This was really fun.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. I feel like I just wanted to be when I usually do when I usually sit down. I always want it to be an organic conversation. I don't want it to be like super like me just asking somebody
Yeah,
question,
yeah.
interrogating, and I like to
No,
just
for
be.
sure. This felt really cool. I loved it. Yeah.
Thank you, man. Is there anybody you would want to see as a future guest in the show that you could think of off the top of your head? Like, yeah, I would love to see him on the show.
Cardi B. I would love to see what you talk to Cardi B about.
That would be a great conversation, man. I think that would be that might be my most viewed one there, man. Because I think she be going crazy on here,
Yeah,
man.
that'd be fun. Yeah, I
And
would love to watch that.
she be pulling energy out of me. I'd be like, damn, man, now I got to do things I never even thought I
We
would
got to
say,
get
man.
Cardi B on here.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna put that one out. I'm gonna tag her on this portion of it. I'm gonna tag her on there,
You
man. It's
should. You should. You never know.
Yo, Nick, man, I just want to say thank you for being a part of No Script platform. I'm proud of everything you're doing, man. Like I said, everything I've seen you on has been incredible. David Make, man, if you haven't already seen it, go check it out. You said it's on HBO Max. I watch it on YouTube. So either one of those, definitely check that out. And then check out, of course, Law and Order Organized Crime. Can you talk about your character a little bit of who you're going to be playing? Not giving away what it is, but like just a little bit of what you're going to be playing, like kind of the character, or you can't even talk about it. As far as
I,
you can.
I can't talk about him.
Okay.
I mean, people could see what he dresses like. I posted a few pictures
I
on my
saw.
Instagram.
I
So
saw.
if you want to see the type of clothes he's going to be wearing, you could go to @Nick Creegan on Instagram or Twitter. And yeah, we have some of the wardrobe on there. So he's dressing pretty fly. I will say that.
For sure, man. Yeah, I seen it, man. Looking real clean on the show, man.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate that.
Of course, man. I want to say thank you for everybody who came and checked it out. Giving your social media one more time, just so they can go check you out as well if they want to tune in to you.
Yeah, so that's @Nick Creegan. That's @NICKCREEGAN.
For sure, man. Again, I want to say thank you for joining the platform and everybody who's already came out and watched it, man. Feel free to subscribe, click a like for the channel, leave us some comments, and let us know what you think, man. We definitely appreciate you for joining and rocking with us.
Appreciate you, man.
Of course, man.